All right. Thank you everybody for being here tonight. Tonight we are doing an intro to the IN.Form Metabolic Age Transformation Program. The program, of course, will be starting here in about a week and a half or so, and so I like to have a couple of introductory classes before we actually get into the actual classes, so that way we can promote the class and let people kind of know what it's all about, so that way they can make their decisions whether it's a fit for them as they aim to increase their healthy lifestyle and any other factors that may be going on. First of all, my name is Charlotte Yagis-Rayal. I am a certified natural health professional, herbalist, naturopath, iridologist, and of course a certified IN.Form coach, as well as a few other things, including mom of 5. And I have been in the business of natural health for 20 years. Actually a little over 20 years by now, and so I'm going to share a little bit more of my story with you here in a little bit, so you can learn to get to know me a little bit better and why I do what I do and all that good stuff. So we'll definitely cover that. In addition to covering my story tonight, of course, we're going to talk about the purpose of the IN.Form class, which the main purpose of the IN.Form class is really addressing the gut microbiome. And when we address the gut microbiome and we work on getting that healthier, and we implement more gut microbiome and make sure it gets fed properly and gets handled properly, then we actually see a lot of health changes take place for us, whether we're dealing with depression, whether we're dealing with allergies, whether we just need more energy, whether we want to balance our weight, whatever it is, everything resides from the gut. And so we'll be talking about that quite extensively tonight to make sure you have a full understanding of what that all entails. I'm also going to do a drawing with a couple of prizes that we're going to be giving away tonight. We're going to talk about metabolic dysfunction and how that relates to current day health situations that are going on. I'm going to give you a full introduction of the 9-week program and how that works for us and what that would entail, how much it is, and all the things that are included in that is also. We're also going to talk about your BioTracker numbers. Of course, Barbara did hers tonight. Jennifer, you did yours last week, so you kind of already have an idea, but we're going to fully go through those BioTracker numbers and make sure you understand how important those are and how we utilize those in the 9-week course to help you track individually where you're going at, because those numbers really help us identify certain weaknesses people may have or strengths that people may have, so we can work on both of those accordingly. Tonight we're also going to make a couple of smoothies. Part of the IN.Form program is using some particular supplements, which are optional, and some smoothies as well. So I'm going to make some smoothies tonight just so you guys can kind of try that and get an idea what that's all about. So that's kind of like a basic guideline of what we're going to be doing tonight. So I'm going to give you some information first on me. When I was in my mid-20s, I was being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And I was working a high-stressed, high-paying job that I thought I loved, and I did, you know. You know, in your mid-20s, I mean, who doesn't like having a high-paying job, right? But anyways, I ended up getting really sick and going through a lot of different health issues, and went in and out of the doctor, trying to figure out constantly what was going on, and really with little answers and having unnecessary surgery and all sorts of things, you know, things that you typically hear that happen to a lot of people. And of course, like I said, I was in my mid-20s, and I got to the point of where they felt like I had MS and that I could possibly be in a wheelchair by the time I was 30. And so that didn't settle too well with me. And of course, the therapies that they had at the time for MS were not anything that I really wanted to jump into either, because that didn't seem like that was a really viable thing for what I expected for my life. And so I moved to Austin, Texas right around that time, and decided that I was going to take my health into my own hands and see what I could do before I handed it over to somebody else. And I ended up started with becoming a vegetarian. I'm no longer a vegetarian, but that's how I started. Started looking at my diet, my nutrition, and seeing what I could do to see if that maybe made a difference. And I did have tremendous success because I was no longer eating McDonald's burgers, and I wasn't eating, you know, a bunch of food that just wasn't healthy for me at all. So started to have a lot of success, and soon after that I started working with herbs and vitamins and different supplementations, and started to see tremendous success in my health. I wasn't having the MS symptoms that I was having before, and even when I was having them, they weren't as intense. And so I knew I was onto something. So to make a long story short, I had a very big blessing with being diagnosed with MS, or being in the process of being diagnosed with MS, because that put me here. it gave me an opportunity to learn about something that I ended up being very passionate about, which is helping other people, whether they're dealing with a specific health problem or they're actually just, you know, wanting to be healthy or wanting to learn more about it. That's what I do, and I enjoy doing it now for 20 years. I opened my first store in 1999 in downtown Austin, and I had a store downtown Austin for several years, and worked with everybody and anybody, you know, that would come in and listen and talk to me. And so I got a lot of experience doing that. One of the other things they told me is that I probably would never have any children, and at 35 or at 34 I got pregnant with my first child. Took me a while to figure out how that happened, but anyways, it did. So that there again changed the course of my life from there, obviously, because that wasn't anything I necessarily planned on doing. So after having my first child, and of course having the, you know, the business and everything, I ended up getting pregnant again with yours truly over there, and basically decided to really just work on building the family. I ended up having 5 children in 7 years, and all of them born naturally and at home, and so they've been my little experimentations for the last 13 years now, because my biggest just turned 13. So anyways, basically been really working on, you know, just, you know, growing them as naturally and as organically as I possibly can, and we've been dealing with all sorts of things that children deal with from a natural perspective. So as one of my regional managers said to me, he's like, you've been on a huge learning curve, and I'm like, I don't feel like I've been doing anything, and he's like, no, you've been on a learning curve. I'm like, oh, I guess you're kind of right. I had a lot of firsthand experience the last few years. So in a nutshell, we've moved up here to Oklahoma. We have a farm outside of Ringwood, Oklahoma, where we grow and raise organic alfalfa. That's something that the children's dad has been doing for years also, and so we are out to feed the animals as healthy as we possibly can as well. And I decided, so when the baby turned 4, I think is when she turned 4, I decided, well, you know what, it's time for me to kind of get back out and do my thing again. And so I came across this IN.Form program that we're talking about tonight, and I really latched onto it, because not only did I need help, I mean, I had 5 babies naturally, had some extra weight that just wasn't coming off, even though I supposedly know all the tricks to get it off, right? And it still wasn't. And really needed help with my energy levels, because I also homeschooled, and that was just really just, I was hitting a brick wall pretty much every day, you know, get up, and get everybody fed and get them going with school, and then I'd go back to bed, you know, type of thing. And so when I came across IN.Form, not only was it something that really resonated with me, myself, but I knew it was something I could really educate people on. One of the biggest things I think that I was challenged with coming up to this area with the experience that I had is I didn't necessarily want to, you know, try and teach people at a level maybe they weren't ready to hear. And this area has been really growing lately at understanding more about natural health, and so they've been really opened up, and this program kind of paces me as well. So by pacing me, what it does is it helps me provide information, but it also provides information on a, you know, over a course of time, opposed to me just when I do consultations, and then people leave going, now what am I supposed to do? So that's the other reason why I like doing this class, because it really helps me to share the information that I've been gifted, and to help people along the course of a period of time, opposed to once or twice coming in and out of the office. So, so like needless to say, I don't deal with MS symptoms anymore. I had tremendous success with my own IN.Form journey, which I'll share with you guys in a little bit more, but that way you kind of know a little bit more about me and who's speaking to you today. So, all right. So first of all, I want to know, who's heard of metabolic dysfunction? Has anybody ever heard of that word? So Jennifer, you've heard of it, right? Latasha, you've heard of it a little bit, right? Okay. So metabolic dysfunction actually is a new term that's been kind of thrown around the last couple of years or so, especially in the medical field. Metabolic dysfunction basically describes when a person's body just metabolically is not necessarily functioning where it should be, especially compared to their actual biological age. And metabolic dysfunction generally has to do with the gut, has to do with the bad bacteria in the gut, which is overtaking the good bacteria and putting up a bigger vote than the good bacteria is, and we end up having a lot of habits, unhealthy habits because of that. But metabolic dysfunction can relate to low energy, it can relate to just not feeling really very good, it can relate to all sorts of other different diseases, whether it's triglycerides or diabetes, cholesterol, you name it. All of those things would actually fall up underneath the category of metabolic dysfunction, because essentially the body is just not metabolically functioning as it should. So the gut microbiome, of course, is one of the biggest things that we work on in this particular program. All right, so metabolic dysfunction, as I was saying, is something that's really been new in the medical field and the Western medicine itself. You can see here on my chart, I've got a chart based on the gut microbiome and the different studies that have been taking place just over the last few years. You can see here all the way, the studies basically officially started coming in about 2007. We had 14 studies that year. It didn't quite double by 2008, didn't quite double yet even by 2009. But by 2010 we had 160 studies, 2013 went to 957, and you can see here in 2015 it grew to 2007. So you can see how this is an area where people are really seeing that, hey, this may be something that may be the key to a lot of people's overall health. You know, because really, Hippocrates put it correctly way back over 2,000 years ago when he said all disease begins in the gut. And I think we're just kind of finally figuring that out. And so now we're really doing a lot of studies and finding out more information on a regular basis. And so this is some of the things that we'll be talking about tonight. But as we move forward, I'd like for you to raise your hand if you are, you either deal with one of these particular health issues or you know somebody who does, okay? So the first thing we're going to ask you about is diabetes, okay? Cholesterol, okay? Hypertension, high blood pressure, okay? What about depression? You know anybody who's had depression, okay? What about candida, which is a yeast infection or yeast issues, okay? Allergies, you know anybody with allergies? How about insomnia, okay? Leaky gut syndrome, all right? Thyroid issues, okay? Autoimmune diseases, constipation or something known as IBS, irritable bowel syndrome.
Well, it kind of goes one way or the other.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. How about weight issues, okay? Arthritis or an inflammation, okay? And ADD and ADHD, okay? So I just named a handful of diseases which are all, including all the ones that I didn't mention, are all affected by the health of the gut microbiome. That's why working with the gut microbiome is so revolutionary in its aspect, is because when you work on the gut microbiome, which is what this program focuses on, you're working on all of those issues, if any of those issues exist within yourself at the same time, because everything goes back to the gut, as I just stated from Hippocrates. So just another little poster here that shows you about the gut microbiome itself. You can see here neurological issues are affected by the gut microbiome. Respiratory, glandular, weight issues, skin, immunity, blood sugars, hormonal and cardiovascular. All of these things are affected by the gut. So this is one of the reasons why we focus so strongly on the gut in this program. Every week when we talk in this program, we're talking about something that relates to the gut, so that way you can become fully aware of what you need to do to increase your good, healthy gut microbiome and get rid of the bad. So you can see that IN.Form shifts the focus to the cause, which is an unhealthy microbiome. So increasing the balance and health of the gut microbiome helps everyone. The 9-week program that we're talking about is going to be starting January 7th and January 8th. We're going to actually be having 2 classes per week, and you get to choose which one you want to come to. You don't come to both classes. We're just going to offer it 2 different nights during the week to make it flexible for people. Basically, what that's going to be is all about is awareness of the gut, balancing the gut microbiome. We're going to be giving you lifelong tools to help you learn how to be healthy by addressing the gut microbiome. We're going to help you with awareness of how food, your body's reaction to food, stress, environmental, and multiple other factors affect and determine your everyday health. So each week we take a subject and we break it down and we make sure you understand how that particular subject can affect your gut microbiome. it puts you in charge. Literally, this program will put you in charge of your own health. Just like when I was being diagnosed with MS, I decided I didn't want somebody else making all my decisions for me on my health. I wanted to be in charge of it. And so that's exactly what this program does. It puts you in a space where you can be more in charge of your own health, make the decisions that are best for you, not just based on a textbook person that somebody may just be reading about. The other thing we talk about is we talk about how genetics load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. So whether you have diabetes in your family, or you have heart disease in your family, or whatever it is you may have in your family, realize that may be a genetic thing, but that doesn't determine whether you're going to deal with that particular issue or not. What determines that is your lifestyle. So that's why we really focus on your lifestyle during this program. I like to coin this program called as Lifestyle Awareness for a Healthy Life, because that's really what it's all about. We just need to be more aware. When we're more aware of what triggers will feed our bad bacteria, and we're aware of what our environment is doing to us, then we can make choices and we can make changes so that way we can get more in alignment with creating our most healthiest selves. The other thing we talk about in the 9-week course is we're going to release you from addictive habits and prescription drug reliance. I've had many people get off of prescription drugs in this particular program. I've had many people release bad habits, whether that's a habit such as, doing a lot of Diet Cokes, or drinking energy drinks, or having to take sleep aids, or any of the things people get addicted to very easily. Even coffee can sometimes be very addictive. So one of the things that we do in this program is we teach you how to negotiate those habits, and how the gut microbiome plays a really big role in that. And when we feed the gut microbiome properly, we can actually start to easily release other bad habits. Latasha and I were talking just a little earlier when she was talking about kind of how she's been on the program for a few weeks, and so she missed the intro class, so that's why she's with us here tonight. But just by sometimes you start eating something you shouldn't be eating because you feel like it's okay, and then all of a sudden you just eat more and you eat more, because what ends up happening is your gut microbiome gets out of balance. And so we're going to be talking about that extensively throughout this 9-week time period. We're also going to focus on getting you more energy, help you with your vitality and your life force, because really that's what it's all about. We're going to re-spark that internal flame by the education, the information we'll be sharing in this particular program. So a lot of different things can be gained with this program as we move forward. Any questions so far on the program before we move forward with a couple things? All right. So just to give you some testimonies, I'm going to give, let's see here. I'm going to give Mary's testimony here first. She's one of my most dear to my heart little gals. When I started working with Mary, Mary was 89, going on 90. She's 91 right now. And Mary had been associated with Nature's Sunshine way back in 1977. And anyway, so she and I had gotten together, and she started doing the IN.Form program, and we just had tremendous success. And the reason why I'm so inspired by her is she's always open to learning new things. And in addition to that, I mean, she's always been working on cleansing her body. So she already had a really good idea of what she needed to do. But her whole goal when she met with me is to remain independent. She lives by herself. She drives herself all over the place. She'll even fly to California or wherever she goes all by herself. And she continues to do so to this day. And so it's just an amazing inspiration. But we did the IN.Form program. When Mary started with me, she was on metformin, which is a diabetic medication. After 3 weeks on the program, she was completely off the metformin. And in addition to that, she lost 9 pounds, which we talk about weight in this program, but we don't focus on the weight, because weight will balance itself out when the gut is balanced in of itself. She lost 7.5 inches in the 13-week program that I did with her, lost 3% body fat, lost 1% of her visceral fat, which we're going to talk about that in a little bit, what that means. Her hydration increased. Her metabolic age went down 10 years to 68 years. So even though at the time she finished the program, she was biologically 90, her metabolic age was 68. And actually since then, I've actually seen it go lower than that as she continues working on her program. She was off of the metformin since week 3 of the program, like I mentioned. Lifelong constipation issues were gone. She'd been dealing with that all her life. She had improvement with her vision, neuropathy, and more energy. And so, like I said, this I think is a really good inspiration, just to know that it doesn't matter where you're at and what stage of life, you can have really positive changes happen to you, especially when you bring your awareness to it and you work with the proper tools in doing so. Me and myself, just to share my testimony, like I said, I had 5 children in 7 years, and I had some extra body fat that wasn't coming off, even though I exercise and eat all the right things. And really what it came down to is my gut microbiome. My gut microbiome, even I never really paid a whole lot of attention to it. You know, it wasn't anything that, obviously it wasn't, you know, a big deal then either, you know. And so as it became more forefront in my mind and the information came out, I was really able to find ways through that gut microbiome increasing my health in tremendous ways. As I mentioned before, you know, I would get up and get the children ready for school, get them fed, and then I would go back to bed, and it usually would happen 4 days out of 5 days a week on a regular basis. I mean, I just would get up just to get things going because I was just so tired all the time. And I couldn't really figure that out either because I was eating right. But just by rearranging my gut microbiome, getting myself on a better, healthier eating schedule, getting my water in, getting all the things in that were necessary, within 3 weeks, I no longer felt like taking a nap every day. It was absolutely amazing. In fact, it was one day I was just like, wait a minute, I haven't even felt like, it's like I didn't have it pre-planned in my head after I got up. Okay, when time am I going to take my nap today? You know, I mean, it was really kind of out of the box because it just happened to me all of a sudden. Another thing that happened to me is I've always loved coffee. I'm a big coffee drinker. I don't drink a lot of coffee. I just drink a little bit of coffee. But it was my crutch a lot, obviously, for when I needed more energy. And after 4 weeks on the program, I would continue making my coffee in the morning, but I would forget to drink it. It was like I was feeling good enough and didn't even have the craving anymore for it. That it'd be about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'd be like, I didn't even drink my coffee. You know, and it was just something that came out of the blue. You know, cravings completely changed. I was teaching the first round of IN.Form classes, and this would have been February of 2017, so almost 2 years ago. And I was teaching one of my first IN.Form classes, and I remember having problems. I was having problems with my truck in town. I couldn't get it started. We were having issues. It was really cold outside. Needless to say, I didn't get home until like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and I had yet to eat dinner. And normally when I had a lot of high stress like that, I mean, I would go and eat the sweets. I would go and eat, you know, whatever would satisfy my reward centers in my head. I went home that night and I ate Brussels sprouts. I wanted Brussels sprouts. It was really kind of crazy, but that's when I noticed my cravings really starting to change, because now my healthy microbiome was really strong, and it was literally attracting healthy foods into my system, and I wasn't wanting the junk food anymore because the bad bacteria wasn't putting in the majority vote anymore. So that was one of my personal testimonies with this whole program. So I'm going to share some more testimonies with you guys in a little while. But next, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about your BioTracker assessments a little bit. I need to grab one of those real quick. I'll be right back. Easy, sweetie. Oh, great, you had yours, Jennifer. Okay, so the BioTracker is a wonderful tool that we use in the program, and we actually get on the BioTracker every week when we come to class. And the BioTracker in of itself gives us several key biomarkers that are very integral to the success of your journey as you go through the IN.Form Transformation Program. But it also helps me to individually help people as well. So even though I'm teaching a class, I can actually help people a little more individualistic by having these numbers every week. But we're going to go through the numbers real quick and just explain them a little bit. So of course the first measurement is your weight. And as I mentioned earlier, I don't focus a lot on weight. I do have a lot of people who join the program because they want to lose weight or they want to balance their weight. And that's perfectly fine. It's not a weight loss program. but it is a program that does help with weight loss if that is something a person is working on. And so, like I said, I don't focus a lot on it because weight does not tell us the whole story. You can lose body weight by losing water, by losing muscle, things that we don't want to be losing. And so that's one of the reasons why I don't focus on it a whole lot, especially in the beginning of the program. Body fat percent. Now, body fat percent is a really important number. It tells us the percent of body fat that you have all over. And if you look down just a little ways here underneath that first bolded area, you can find your gender, and you find your age, and you can find where your healthy body fat should be at. So, for instance, if you're a female aged 40 to 59, 23 to 34% is where your healthy body fat would come in at. And of course, that would be a goal that we would work towards if you're not within that category. You seeing that, Barbara? Yeah. Get your glasses out, yeah. So you've got the female right here, and that's your age category there. And so that would be where you would want to be at, would be right in there. So you can go ahead and circle that if you want. So you can find that easy, but you'd want to be in that category for your body fat. So you would just compare that to where your numbers came in at tonight.
Okay, so I'm not in the worst shape, but not in the best.
Right, okay. So body fat, of course, is something we do track on a weekly basis. The next number that you're looking at is body water percent, which is your hydration. This literally is the amount of hydration you have in your cells. I have people that do the program that drink lots of water, but yet for some reason they can't move their hydration levels. And that gives me a really good indication of where I need to help somebody specifically, because if that's happening, then that means there's a hydration issue where their body's not allowing that water to get into the cells. But if you look a little bit further down at the very bottom on that left-hand column, you can see if you're a female, your body water percent should be between 45 and 60%. And if you're a male, your body water percent should be between 50 and 65%. Okay? So that would be a number we would definitely work on if you're not within those ranges. The next number we're looking at is muscle mass. Now, muscle mass is literally the pounds of muscle that you have in your particular body. When we get into the program, I explain a little more to you what you want that percentage to be at in accordance to your overall weight, so I won't talk about that right now, but that is a number that we do look at as we work to increase your health from a metabolic standpoint. The next number is your DCI. Now, DCI stands for daily calorie intake, which is how many calories it takes for you in one day to sustain your body as it is right now if you were to stay in bed all day and do nothing. Okay? So that's how many calories it takes for your particular body. Now, we don't deal with calories in this program. Calories are not a focus, but it is really interesting to see how your calories shift as you gain more muscle mass, as your body fat goes down, and a few other biomarkers regulate themselves out. Metabolic age. This is probably one of the most important ones that most people look at, is their actual metabolic age. And as we spoke about earlier, we talked about metabolic dysfunction. Metabolic age literally is the age in which your body is functioning versus your actual biological age. So obviously, you'd want your biological age and your metabolic age to be pretty close in proximity. Some people really want their metabolic age a lot lower than their biological age. Everybody's kind of different on that. But obviously the biggest goal is to get that metabolic age in and close to your actual biological age. The next number is your bone mass. Now, this is a really important number also, especially for females as they're maturing. We want to make sure that your bone mass is as strong as possible. So if you go to the right-hand column over here, you can see we've got women, average estimate of bone mass, and you can kind of see your weight range there, and you can see where you should fall at. So if you fall in the category of 110 pounds or less, you should have at least 4.3 pounds of muscle, or excuse me, of bone mass. The next category, at least 5.3 pounds, and of course the other category, 6.5 pounds. So that's something we definitely kind of keep track of, obviously, because we want to make sure that you're getting plenty of the proper minerals to increase your bone mass to make sure it's at the adequate amount that it should be. Visceral fat is another really super important number. It's really hard to get this number doing anything else. But visceral fat literally is the fat that hangs out in your intestines. It's the fat that is attached to your liver, attached to your heart, attached to your kidneys, attached to all the soft tissue organs that are in your torso or abdominal area. This is the fat that can cause cardiovascular disease and a host of other diseases related to all of those organs that are in that abdominal cavity. It's not the same fat that hangs on our hips or our thighs. It's completely different. And so it's very important that we keep this visceral fat down and at an acceptable level. And if you go way to the bottom on the right-hand side, you'll see between 1 and 12 is a healthy visceral fat. Anytime you start getting over 12, you're putting yourself at a high risk for cardiovascular disease and any other diseases that may relate to those body systems that are in the abdominal cavity. So that's a really important number for us as we do the program. It does take a little bit to bring it down, but when it does come down, your metabolic age comes down, everything just really starts to come into to balance when we work with that visceral fat. So does anybody have any questions on the BioTracker assessment information?
I'm in trouble.
You're in trouble? You're not in too much trouble. We can do some tweaking though, Barbara.
Well, I'm older than I really am. And
Yeah.
I'm on the brink of being unhealthy. Actually, I'm just barely
Yeah.
healthy. Visceral fat.
Yeah.
I lost 50 pounds in about 3 years before I had the surgery.
Oh, wow.
But then after I had the surgery, you know, they had you eating and doing, and I wasn't exercising a whole lot, although I did go to St. Mary's and ride the little bicycles and do all that. I always felt exercise was 2 4-letter words, and you
Yeah.
spell it as
Yeah.
and so I just my muscle mass is not too great.
Yeah. Well, those are all numbers we work on in the program, and that's one of the reasons why we do them every week, so we can kind of assess where you're at. Because I can tell if somebody hasn't maybe been eating enough protein, and even if they've been eating enough protein, then what I have to look at is, are you digesting the protein? Just like with the water, if you say you're drinking the water, and you are drinking the water, but your hydration numbers don't change, then that means there's something else going on. So that's why the BioTracker assessments are so important every week, is because it helps me to help you stay on track and to figure out any of those little loopholes that may be going on within your particular constitution that may be standing in the way of you actually achieving what you're out to achieve. So the BioTracker is something, like I said, we do every week and is included in the actual program itself. All right. So the metabolic age transformation class is a comprehensive, clinically studied program that reverses metabolic dysfunction. So this program that we're talking about is not something that's just new and experimental. It's actually a clinically studied trial program. That was the other reason why I was so excited when I came across it, because in 20 years, I'd not seen a program that really laid the foundation for people as well as this particular one did. And of course, knowing that it actually went through clinical trials to make sure that it was safe and it was healthy for people, that was what was really important to me. And so that's one of the reasons why I like it. Of course, this particular program, what it includes is a nutrition. We have a particular nutritional program that we follow with this particular program. And you will never starve on this program, I will tell you that. Tasha can probably attest for that. It's very difficult actually to get in all the foods that we're looking to have you get in. But we do have a particular balance of foods that we do like to work with. One of the things we have to do is we actually have to starve that bad bacteria and get rid of it. And I'm going to talk to you about how we're going to do that in a little bit, but that is one of the things that we do with the nutritional part of the program. Exercise, of course, also is something we like to see people do. And exercise is something that has to be done at your pace, at your level. You know, exercise doesn't look the same for everybody. And I actually have a personal trainer that I've been working with here in Enid. She took the class with us last spring, and she's an IN.Form coach also. She helped me coach the last series of classes that we have. And so she will actually be bringing to the table some extra information on exercise to really help motivate people to find that right sweet spot for exercise for your particular being. The other thing that we have that's part of this program is there's a supplemental program part of the program. Now this is separate from the class itself, but we're going to look at some actual results from the clinical study trial program. And so the supplements and the protein shakes do help you get to your healthy point a lot quicker and a lot more thoroughly if you choose to do that. And then of course the other part of the 9-week course is the classes, coming to classes every week, being around other people who are wanting to get healthier, wanting to increase their awareness so they can, you know, stay away from toxicity, how they can regain their health back, their energy back, whatever it is that they're working on. It's a really neat thing to be able to come together, and it also kind of keeps you accountable, and you got other people to kind of talk about that are in the same lane as you, so to speak. But and of course, every week we talk about something different. Whether we talk about how to read labels, we talk about how stress affects the gut microbiome, we talk about heart health, and we break the myth of fats. All sorts of different things are covered over that 9-week time period. Let's see, so I think you guys got your brochures here. I gave these to you guys. So these are little pamphlets that you guys can take home also and learn a little bit more about the program. This particular little one talks a little bit more about what IN.Form is all about and gives you some actual people who've actually had results on the program and what things have happened for them, whether they've lost weight, whether they've reduced their metabolic age, whatever it may be. And then this particular pamphlet right here, the one that says Reverse Your Metabolic Age, this is a little bit more in depth at understanding the gut microbiome and what we're doing with the gut microbiome as we move through this program. So please be sure to take a look at those and gather yourselves some more information on that as well. Okay, so our gut is like a fish tank. Literally, it's like a fish tank, okay? If you have, has anybody here had a fish tank before? Okay, then you know where I'm going with this one, right? So when you have an unhealthy fish tank, it's really hard for your fish to survive. If they don't have proper oxygen, if they have too many toxic chemicals that are in the water itself, if they're having foreign materials such as styrofoam cups, algae growing in the corners, it's very difficult for those fish to survive. And so this is where the analogy of how your gut is like a fish tank. So your gut in of itself is the actual fish tank itself. And your good healthy microbiome, which is a little microorganisms that live in your gut. By the way, they live everywhere in your body. We'll talk about that a little bit more next week or in the classes themselves. But these guys are your good microbiome. So if you don't treat your gut right, if you've got toxicity lurking in your gut, if you've got old fecal matter that's not coming out and it's just kind of impacted, you've just got an environment that literally feeds that bad bacteria, then the good healthy fish are not going to survive. And so this is what we will be focusing on during the 9-week program, is to actually work on cleaning out your fish tank, cleaning out your gut. Has anybody heard of probiotics before? Taken probiotics? Okay. I believe in probiotics. Probiotics are wonderful. But if you had a fish tank or a gut like this, would you go out and buy a really good, healthy probiotic or a good, expensive fish and put it in without taking care of the environment? This is where a lot of people don't understand that probiotics are wonderful, but you've got to put them in an environment where they can survive, where they can thrive, where they can proliferate, where they can do their job, which is helping you stay healthy. Whether it's your immune system, helping you with your serotonin levels, whatever it may be, which comes from the gut. That good, healthy microbiome, those probiotics, need a healthy home. And so that's what we're doing over the course of this 9 weeks and extended even beyond that, is we're cleaning up the gut and we're creating an environment where those good probiotics can live and proliferate. By doing this in the program, what we're doing is we're going to reset, which also means remove, repair, and replenish. So the 3 R's are a big focus on this 9-week program as we continue through it. The first one is to reset or to remove. We don't want to be getting that good, expensive fish until we can actually remove some of the chemicals and toxicity that's in the gut. So with resetting, we're going to eliminate things from the body that negatively affect your healthy microbiome. We're going to work with environmental chemicals, pollutants, accumulated waste materials, an overabundance of food, beverages that promote inflammatory responses, and the wrong kind of gut bacteria. So that's the first R, is to reset or remove all of these things from the gut. And that's where our nutrition will really play a big role, because we need to work on eliminating that through our nutrition and through supplementation. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to repair. A lot of us actually have a weakened digestive system, a weakened eliminative system, leaky gut being one of those, where the actual little barriers in our gut actually move apart and allow toxicity to get into our bloodstream. And so what we need to do is we literally need to do is build up that good, healthy gut. We need to help the lining of the small intestine and the large intestine. We need to make it stronger, so that way it can be a stronger material. It's kind of like having a fish tank with a crack in it. That doesn't hold a lot of water, does it? That's basically what's happening in the gut. So a second thing we'll be doing is repairing, providing nutritional support for healing the regeneration of the gut. We're going to supply the body with vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, essential fatty acids, amino acids, and of course a lot of plants. So that way that gut microbiome has a healthy atmosphere to live in. We're going to work with plants, fibers, and fermentation. We're going to learn how to feed that good bacteria and how to continue repairing as well. Now the last thing, of course, is to replenish. So now that the fish tank is all cleaned out, we've got all the algae out of the corners, we've got oxygen pumping into the water, we removed all foreign materials, we've got the proper environment for those fish. Now what we need to do is we need to replenish. We need to make sure we're putting in the healthy gut microbiome. We're going to restore a healthy balance of beneficial bacteria to the gut by re-inoculating the GI tract with desirable flora. And what's important is supplementation that's quality, it has a high quality to it and is safe also. And that's one thing we talk about, because a lot of people are all about, well, how many strands of probiotics? It's not really so much how many strands and how much, it's the quality of those strands of those probiotics and how they're going to proliferate and get into the system. We're going to work on obtaining a desirable balance and keep working at an optimal level. And basically by doing all of this, this puts you in a healthier state overall, and we also teach you how to continue to maintain all of these things in the particular program we're talking about. So of course what we end up with then is a healthy, beautiful tank with gorgeous fish that are not coughing, taking a nap, going to bed for longer than what they should, running out for a coffee, Red Bull, you know, or maybe some insomnia pills because they can't sleep. We're going to work on rebuilding the gut and making sure that that fish tank of our gut is actually healthy and flourishing long term and on its own. All right, so that's what we're doing with that, the focus on that. Let me give you some information on the breakdown of the class itself. So, let's see here. Okay. So of course, each week what you're going to be doing is you're going to come in with BioTracker assessments. You're also going to be getting a participant manual with the class, and I give little folders out too because I like handouts. I'm a big handout person, so be prepared. I love giving out information. But you're going to be getting a manual, and this manual will help you track through our 9-week program with a lot of information that I teach out of. Of course, with my 20 years of experience of being in the business, I bring a lot of other things into this as well to really help you understand like how to break down protein properly, understanding how, cholesterol levels, understanding a lot of things that are kind of seem kind of kind of a myth out there that we don't really always get a full answer on. So I bring all of that into the information that we present in the class itself. In the manual, you also have a place too to keep track of your weekly BioTracker numbers We also do measurements in the class as well. So we do, I think it's 5 measurements is what we end up doing, and we do those measurements every 4 weeks, so we can keep track of what's happening with that too, because that's one thing that I like people to understand. Sometimes it's not so much about the weight, it's about how you feel and how your clothes fit. Because if your clothes fit right and you're comfortable and you're happy, I mean, that lasts all day long. But if you just get on the scale once a day and you don't like what you see, or, you know, I mean, that can affect your whole day. So we're really looking at how your clothes fit and how you feel every day. But you get the manual, you get the folder. We're going to be giving out lots of information. I also give out samples on different particular products, especially if somebody's needing assistance with breaking down their foods. They need help with calming, stress, things like that. We do samples as well. We talk about the nutrition plan. Like I said, the nutrition plan is all based on your palm. So as long as you've got your palm with you, you can measure out whatever you need to be eating on a regular basis. So we don't deal with scales, we don't deal with calories, we just basically deal with your palm and portion sizes according to your palm. So it makes it really super easy. Basically, one of the things that we're doing in the nutrition program is we're going to be starving the bad bacteria. So that bad bacteria that may possibly be at the majority vote right now needs to be starved for us to eliminate it and get it out, so that way the healthy gut microbiome could retake over the environment and have the majority vote again. And of course, habits. A lot of our sugar cravings, a lot of our food cravings that are not healthy for us come from that bad bacteria. And once that bad bacteria is eliminated and not in control anymore, you'll see that it's really easy to change your habits, because a lot of us think it's all in our head. In actuality, it's all in our gut. And that's what we'll be focusing on with the nutritional program.
Question.
Yeah.
As I'm getting older, I'm getting forgetful, and I get confused kind of quickly with a short temper. And
Gotcha.
And you know, I'm an accountant and I'm having trouble keeping track of my stuff. So
yeah.
Is this going to clean out my brain as well?
Most definitely, most definitely. I don't know what held Rosa up, but she was one of the reasons why I was hoping she would be here, because Rosa came to me that way. In fact, Rosa had such a hard time deciding whether to do the class or not, because she just didn't feel like she could focus and do what she needed to do. Of course, she had some other health issues going on too that were interfering with that. But that is one thing that happens. When your gut is clear, your brain gets clear, because the gut and the brain are very much connected, and we talk about that in the classes. But yes, this program helps with focus, it helps with memory, it helps with all sorts of different things that deal with the brain in of itself. So yes, definitely.
Because it just really upsets me that I have always had a memory problem from the time I was little.
Yeah.
So it's, you know.
Well, we'll work with that.
Just getting worse, you know. And I can be talking to somebody and I'm thinking of something and all of a sudden it just blew
Yeah.
and was gone.
Yeah.
And so it's aggravating to me. It
Yeah.
really tests my patience.
I gotcha. Well, this will definitely make a change for you, most definitely. All right, and then of course exercise. I already kind of explained that that's part of it. Now the IN.Form supplements and shakes, like I said, it's not a requirement to do the program with the shakes and the supplements, although I do highly recommend it because it gets you to where you want to be a lot quicker. One thing Miss Mary said to me, the one that I had up here a little bit earlier, she was on a fixed income, you know, paid once a month type of thing. And she said to me at the beginning of the program, she said, Shar, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this every month for the next 3 months, because we did a 13-week program with her. And I said, it's okay. Nope, that's no problem. Just do the program the first month. And that's what I tell anybody who's trying to decide whether they should do it or not, or where they're kind of at. Just do the whole program for the first month and then tell me, because what will inevitably most likely happen will be what Mary did. She called me at week 3 and she said to me, Shar, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I need to stay on this program because I'm feeling so much better and I have energy. And of course she was off the metformin and everything by then. So point being is, you know, if you can, do the whole program the very first month, the whole month. Really stick with it as best as you can, and I think you'll see a huge difference. But when you do the program, basically this is what comes along with it. There's not a lot of supplements, but you get a probiotic, which is some of that good fish that we were looking at doing. This probiotic's a little bit different in the fact that you can take this with meals. And so you would be doing 3 of these per day. And these, of course, are just your normal capsule size, as all those are. So it would be 3 probiotics per day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then we do something called berberine. Have you guys heard of berberine at all? Berberine is an excellent herb made from the Indian root plant, barberry plant. And basically what it does is it helps to balance blood sugars, and it helps to get out endotoxins in the gut. So we've got endotoxins in the gut, which are toxins that bad bacteria makes, and the berberine helps to get that out. So it really helps with the results of having bad bacteria in the gut is what it does. And like I said, in addition to that, it helps with balancing blood sugars also. You'll be taking
gassy or?
It's very possible. And a lot of times when I tell people, or when people tell me they have gas, I look at it and I say, okay, what have you been eating? What's going on? A lot of times we just don't realize we've got stuff that's trapped inside. And then when we start taking healthy things that help to build up the good bacteria and release those endotoxins, we can have a result of that. So it's not uncommon to have gas with this particular program, but generally what ends up happening after the first week or 2 of that, it goes away because your body is kind of balanced out. Now it's used to the program and it knows what it's doing. Because it can be a little bit of shock to some people's systems if they've done a lot of detoxing or cleansing before.
Now, do you get something that is kind of like a shopping list? When you go
Yes,
to the
ma'am.
store?
It's in your manual.
Okay.
It's all in the manual.
It's all in the manual.
It's all in the
All
manual.
right.
You bet. No, I don't leave you hanging. The other thing that you get in the IN.Form kit is the cardio kit itself. And the cardio kit actually is a little package that you take at night. Either take it at dinner time or before bed. And this is very integral at helping people with cholesterol levels, triglyceride levels, blood pressure, anything to do with the cardiovascular system. You're getting your essential fatty acids, which you're getting double the dose of what the American Heart Association actually suggests that you have to prevent heart disease. You're getting your multivitamin in here, and you're getting a patented formula called Cardio XLDL. And Cardio XLDL is a specific patented program, or supplement rather, that really works in the cardiovascular system and opening up the peripheral artery system. And what that is it's all like the little the veins and all the little tiny capillaries and blood capillaries that are in the ends of our fingers and our toes and everywhere. And it really helps with getting circulation to those areas. And a lot of us, we focus on the big arteries and veins, but we don't necessarily focus on the little ones. And so I've had people take this product and do really well with not having cold hands or cold feet anymore, not having achy feet when they walk on the floor, especially first thing in the morning, just really helping with their circulation overall. So that part of the program is the actual supplementation part of the program. The other part of the program that we have is the actual protein shakes themselves. Now, these protein shakes are part of the whole program. They are part of the clinically studied program, and they're different than your normal protein shakes. 2 things that these protein shakes have in them that you won't see in a lot of other things is inulin. Inulin is food for your good bacteria. So there again, you don't get big fancy fish, put them in a healthy fish tank, but then never feed them. So the inulin in these particular protein shakes will actually help feed that good bacteria and keep it strong.
What do you mix that with?
I'm going to get to that in a moment.
Oh,
Yeah, that's okay. You're up. Good question. See, you're leading me down what I need to do next. The next thing you're going to get, you got to go. Okay. All right. Thank you for coming. All right. All right.
But
We'll
I'll
see
be
you.
back, the next intro class.
You're going to come. Wonderful. I'll see you next Friday for sure then.
It was nice to meet you all.
The other thing this has in it is something called phytosterols. And phytosterols are plant cholesterols. So we pretty much make most of all of our own cholesterols, but when we input plant cholesterols, what they do is they block us from absorbing our own cholesterols. And so this particular product in combination with the Cardio XLDL that was in the cardio kit that I just spoke about, specifically really works on lowering cholesterol levels, triglycerides, and blood pressure. because of the phytosterols that are in this particular product in of itself. So the phytosterols is something really unique that you get in these particular protein powders. The other reason these protein powders are so wonderful is they're also pre-digested, which basically means you don't have to go through a lot of work in your digestive system to break them down. They get in there, they do what they're supposed to do, and your body doesn't have to spend a lot of extra time with digesting proteins, because protein is very the most challenging food for us to digest. When you get the whole kit itself, you get 1 bottle of the berberine and the probiotic, you get your cardio kit, and you get 4 bags of protein. So we're actually doing 2 shakes per day, 2 scoops twice per day, and you can mix it with a variety of things. You can just shake it up in water and go, or you can do like protein shake smoothies, which we'll be doing also in the classes every week. So at the end of every class, I always do a special protein smoothie, giving you different ideas of things you can add in there and how you can make it taste different ways, especially if you're having a chocolate craving, or if you want to add some fruit, or you want to try and get some of your good healthy fats in there, whatever it may be. So I give you lots of different ideas throughout the course of the 9 weeks on how to make the protein shakes unique, and especially if you want variety. I'm one of those people, I kind of like the same thing over and over again. I find what I like and I stick with it. But some people like to have the variety as well. So I definitely will be making sure that you know all the things that you can mix the protein powders with besides just water.
Because I currently drink a protein shake in the morning, and I don't use regular milk. I use
Plant milks.
almond milk.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I don't know if that's worthwhile or not. But
Yes.
I've been off. I don't drink, and I don't smoke, and I don't drink a lot of things, and I don't eat a lot of stuff that is bad for me,
Yeah.
except chocolate. And dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate.
So,
That is a health food.
huh?
Chocolate is a health food.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I thought, yeah.
It should be, right?
It should be, yes. But there's just a lot of things I don't eat
Yeah.
that you were talking about, because I don't drink coffee, and I don't,
Yeah.
don't drink or anything like that, or any alcoholic beverages.
Yeah.
I don't even drink wine.
Yeah.
So,
That's also a health food.
wine is a healthy,
Yeah,
yes, it's
especially the
supposed
red.
to be. But I just, it feels like I have done away with a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
But I still not good enough, because my
Yeah.
son said I eat too much sugar.
Yeah.
But that comes with age.
I don't even know about that, but yeah, it comes with something.
Yeah. I have always,
Yeah.
and my grandfather did that for me.
Right.
He had a pool hall down in O'Keene, and when they would come to visit, or I'd go to visit there, I always got a bag of candy out of whatever he was selling.
Yeah.
And so now I'm a chocoholic, and I love candy and all this kind of stuff. You're not supposed to have all this. I've been eating it since I was little.
Well, this program will actually help you to not crave those things as much and help you replace them with things that actually would be more healthy for you.
Yeah.
And you'll actually want to do it, which
Because
is
I don't
really
even
amazing.
really eat out that much, because
Yeah,
I don't like
that's
the
good.
food. I don't really like the food anymore. I can't eat the red sauce and hot stuff. Now they want to put hot stuff in everything.
So as far as the actual program products, those are the different things that we work with in the program in and of itself, just to give you some ideas. Do you guys have any questions about any of the products? Yes.
Okay, so I'm totally on board with the probiotics and the omegas and the good fats.
Yeah.
I don't know if the metabolic or the heart products are a good idea for me, because I already have super low blood pressure and low cholesterol. I'd be afraid I'd pass out and die if I.
So it doesn't reduce those things, it regulates those things. Just kind of like when I
Yeah.
say,
Well, that's what the brochure here talks about, is
Yeah.
reduction in blood pressure and cholesterol. I don't need any of that reduced.
yeah, I gotcha.
I mean, might increase if anything.
Right. Well, with the plant sterols, you're actually getting in cholesterol. It's just the healthier form of cholesterol. And so that's, of course, if you're going to increase your cholesterol, that's what you really need to do, is you need to increase the good cholesterol. You would never want to increase the LDLs or the bad cholesterols. So that's definitely something, to kind of take a look at. But, obviously we've had a lot of people who have had high blood pressure and high cholesterol, and they've actually gotten off their meds by doing this program, but it's not something that regulates it down below. It creates a balance. It even works for people who are like overly skinny, I guess would be a good way to put it, who actually need to gain weight. We have had people actually gain weight on the program. Healthy weight, the right kind of weight for people who have a hard time gaining weight. Another one is like me, myself, I've dealt with hypoglycemia since way back when I decided to become a vegetarian. And so my blood sugars are low, so it doesn't reduce my blood sugars, but it helps bring them back up and helps balance them to where they're at. So, that's probably the most important thing to kind of understand with all of that. So if you've got some numbers that you're working on, that you're concerned about being too low or getting lower, this is all about balance. Bringing everything into a balance, not reducing everything and just keeping everything low.
Because of my surgery, I have, it's gotten down to where I don't have very many medications that they've prescribed for me.
Yeah.
But I really would like, and I just don't feel that I can just cut them off, and I just.
And you wouldn't. Yeah.
But I would seem to me like I wouldn't need them, because my blood pressure's been holding pretty steady. And,
yeah.
And some of the other things, but I just, I don't know how to regulate all of this too.
Right. Well, and that's one thing that you just everybody kind of takes a different stance at it. I've had people who actually ran lab work before doing the program, and then they run lab work afterwards. I've had other people, just to be able to compare and see what's happening. One of my guys had a quadruple bypass in February of 2017, and then right at the turn of 2018, he was off all of his cholesterol medications. Everything that he was on according to it. So,
this year.
but he was also keeping up with it.
Yeah, I had mine in February this year.
Yeah.
So, I just had a double bypass.
Yeah.
I still got the scars to.
Yeah.
But I seem to be, doing pretty well as far as my tests are concerned. I have regular visits, and Dr. G has kind of cut me off to every 3 or 4 months, so that's good,
Yeah.
And she thinks I'm
Definitely.
okay. But it's just, I just need to regulate this, because I do have sugar
Right.
cravings, something awful.
Yeah. Well, and that's something that we can definitely work with on this program. No doubt about that. Did you have any other further questions on that, Jennifer? No. Okay. All right, great. So weekly bio-tracker assessments, handouts, food journals, drawings, samples, smoothies, group support, all of those things are a part of that 9-week course. The other big thing that I see for most people is 95% of all the people that I work with on this program within 2 weeks tell me they have more energy. I've had people tell me within 3 days they have more energy. That's probably the biggest thing that I see the quickest, is because people are feeling better, they're getting proper nutrition in, their body's starting to work on shifting itself to a healthy microbiome balance. But energy is basically one of the biggest things you'll see happen the quickest on this program, and that's without any stimulants whatsoever.
I can get all my pictures home.
There you go, yeah. All right, so I think I kind of already mentioned, with Terry off cholesterol, Nettie losing inches. I mean, just so many different things that we've actually had happen here in Enid, in addition to some of the other things that is shown with the actual program itself. As Jennifer was reading through the pamphlet there, basically this is from the clinically studied trial programs. At the end of the 90 days, the group who received IN.Form products, basically what they did is they had 2 groups of people. They had a group of people that did the whole IN.Form program with the nutrition, the exercise, and the classes, but did not do the products. And then we had everybody who did the whole thing, the nutrition, the products, the exercise, and the classes. But overall, with both those groups together, they had a 12% reduction in body weight, a 21, excuse me, let me get some water. Your voice is going, okay, you've been talking a long time. A 21.5% reduction in fat mass, a 51% reduction in triglycerides, 11% reduction in the systolic, and 12% reduction in the diastolic blood pressure, and an overall 18% reduction in total cholesterol, but 19% reduction in the LDL, or the bad cholesterol. So those are the biggest differences we saw in this clinically studied trial program. Now the next thing that they did after that is then they compared. They compared that group that did the products versus the group that didn't do the products. And the group that did the products versus the group that didn't do the products had 56% more weight loss, had 65% more fat loss, had 125% greater reduction in the systolic blood pressure, and 62% greater reduction in the diastolic, 66% greater reduction in triglycerides, 129% greater reduction in cholesterol, total cholesterol, and an 80% greater reduction in LDL bad cholesterol. So you can see where the products made a really big difference for those folks that did the whole program and did the products as well.
What about boobs?
About what? Do we want a reduction or do we want an increase?
I want a reduction, it's killing my back.
Okay.
Right now.
That's where the inches will make a difference.
I just bought a bra, and I have to send it back because it was a 44 age. I'm going to have to go with a little smaller around the top.
Right, yeah.
It's killing me.
Yeah.
And of course, they're just getting heavier and heavier. And I want to go in and just do a complete reduction.
I
And
got you.
they said, no, you don't want to do that because it causes a lot of other problems.
Then
know,
your
but
muscles, yeah, your musculoskeletal
it's
system
just,
overall.
it's just killing me.
Yeah.
She's smart.
Yep.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I feel like, and people said, oh, and I said, I wish I could give you some.
Yeah,
It's
I
just,
got you.
I
Well,
wore 30
that's usually
I
where
wore
the
a
inches come
32
off
D
first.
bra when I was a senior in high school,
Yeah.
and I weighed 109 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
So I looked like I was ready to fall on my face at any time. And I took a lot of teasing and a
Yeah.
lot of crap
Yeah.
as a result of it. And then as the years have gone, and I had gotten myself up over 200 pounds, and then they had just,
Yeah.
But this is my problems, that I don't know. Now I have healthy gut and healthy body, so we have to figure out what we're gonna do with the girls.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll start reducing
With
them.
Papa the-
They're not needed, so we just
Yeah,
reduce it,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. I said, I really don't need them anymore. I had 2 kids and then I'm out of the business.
Gotcha. Out of business.
I got lucky with variety, and so I had one of each.
One of each, you did good.
So, my
Okay.
question is now, this is a program, and this is also
Yes.
a pricing, that's what I'm.
Yes. Was that the next question? So the pricing for the metabolic age transformation class, and I've written down here everything that includes. The individual regular price for the whole 9 weeks for the class itself is $150. If you do pre-register for the class by January 4th, you'll get a $15 reduction in the individual pre-registered price. So I do give a $15 discount if you pre-register with me by January 4th.
Now, what are the products called?
I'll get to that in a moment.
Okay.
And of course, I also, if you have somebody in the same household that wants to join us, I've also got a couple discount, or a couple pricing there as well. So that gives you all the information you need on the actual program itself, or the actual price of it. And then the products themselves. The best way to purchase the products is to get them in a kit. You can buy them all individually, but as far as pricing goes, getting them in a whole kit is the best way to start off. The whole kit itself, which includes your probiotic, your berberine, your cardio kit, and 4 bags of protein shakes, is a whole 1 month supply. So it's a 1 month supply for that, and that's $240. as long as we get it at the regular price. Sometimes there's discounts going on and whatnot, and I'll let you know if there is something going on that
so
we
the
can apply.
products,
$240 for a kit that will last a month.
okay.
Okay?
So in addition to this 150, right?
Yes.
Now, is that 150, that's good for the 9-week class?
That's for the whole 9 weeks, includes your manual, your food journal, samples, smoothies, BioTrack readings, the whole class, everything. So that's for the class portion itself, and then you've got the product portion, which is separate.
So with the products, I still have to buy groceries, right?
Yes, you do.
And is there something there that kind of helps me to shop, or do I just have to kind of?
Yes, in your manual, we actually have like a whole listing, which we'll go through the very first week of our classes. We've got actual sample, of course this tells you, what you're eating and how much. Like I said, I go over all of this. You got a shopping food list right there,
Okay.
all the different categories. You've even got, if you're someone who likes to have it all lined out for you, actual daily menus. You've
Oh.
also got that too. So depending on how much assistance you want and making sure you do it the right way,
So in
You can do it.
addition to this 240, I still have to buy groceries.
you do. But do keep in mind that the protein shakes, which are actually a little over half of the whole kit, are part of your food also. So that's the other thing I help make sure people understand. I mean, you're purchasing part of your groceries when you purchase the kit as well. And
So you get a kit a month?
you get one kit per month is what's recommended for the whole program. Yes.
So
Yes.
what happens when you get to your level and you're hunky-dory with everything?
Okay. So it takes approximately 13 weeks to really change that gut microbiome to where it needs to be at, as long as you don't have a bunch of other things going on. That's for the average person. Some people need a little bit longer, some people maybe not quite so much. There is a maintenance program that we work on afterwards to help keep you on track, which allows you more flexibility in your nutrition. You may take a downgraded version of some of the supplements. Things just kind of shift at the end. And of course, we go through all that at the end of the program and make sure that you're fully equipped with that information. The one thing that I'm doing differently with this class than I did with the classes before is the classes before were a 13-week program. I'm putting this into 9 weeks. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take either a week or 2 weeks off, and then we're going to launch an advanced IN.Form program, which means for the people who want to keep going, want to keep the accountability of a class, maybe they just want more information, I'm going to be actually formulating an advanced IN.Form program where we give even more in-depth information. Like for instance, I'm going to talk about how you should eat organically, but when we get into the IN.Form Advanced program, I'm going to talk about some of the pitfalls of organics and making sure you understand the whole side of that.
And the other thing, does that kind of blend into vegetarian?
No. We want to, if someone wants to be a vegetarian, I've had excellent results with vegetarians on this program. But we are really focusing on proper forms of protein. Because protein is what's essential for your brain food,
Yeah.
and it's essential for your maintenance of your body. Protein is part of is part of your DNA. It's actually part of your DNA strand. Yeah, so we need to get protein in. We just need to figure out what's
I just am going
Good
to
to you.
convince my son now that I need this, so I will. He's controlling my money, so
Gotcha.
I never thought I would get to that point.
It happens sometimes.
Well, he thinks I need to have that, so.
Yeah.
We do butt heads a few times, and I was on my own for a long time. But then I got myself up to over 200 pounds, so I really,
Yeah.
that wasn't so good. And if I really get down, I don't want to get to 109 pounds again. That's what I was
Yeah.
in high school, and I don't think that was a healthy weight either.
That's pretty small. So when we talk about the IN.Form products, basically, I make sure that people understand too, that even though there's an investment in the product portion of it, a lot of times what ends up happening is those monies end up coming back to you in a balance. Like for instance, Mary, she had a high copay on her metformin. She no longer had to take metformin. She saved a lot of money there. People who are doing a lot of energy drinks or allergy pills or sleeping medications, this is another big one. A lot of people taking antacids, over the counter antacid type things. I have a lot of people who quit taking all of those things because we're actually getting rid of those issues by addressing the gut microbiome. So that's one of the big things I like to make sure people know up front also, is that even though it feels sometimes like a chunk to work on financially with the program itself and the products meeting, that a lot of times what ends up, you end up balancing yourself back out because you're gonna stop doing things that were maybe costing you more money that you didn't realize maybe at the onset, but then you kind of figure it out as you go through the program itself. So keeping that in mind is really important. Usually what I tell people who are coffee drinkers, if they're like a Starbucks coffee drinker and they drink coffee 5 days a week, I mean, that's $84 a month is what they're spending.
Well,
you know,
I'm well into chai tea frappuccino,
yeah.
so.
Right. Okay. Energy drinks 5 days a week, $60 a month.
Yeah.
You know, sleep medications can be $100 a month, and acids $50 per month. So my point being is that, you know, by doing the program, getting involved, you know, following the nutritional program, doing the supplemental part of it, all of that is actually going to put you at a balance of where you're probably going to save money somewhere else, because you're not going to be desiring to do that or not needing to do whatever it was that you were spending the money on before. So junk food could be $100 to $300 a month. So anyways, do you guys have any other questions about the program itself?
I don't think so.
Okay.
How about you?
Can you follow up more on her question about the maintenance once you've reached your 12 weeks and you've gotten your healthy diet?
Sure,
What's
yeah.
the maintenance look like?
So the maintenance looks somewhat similar to the actual program itself, but the thing we're doing in our 9 to 13 week course is we're really eliminating carbohydrates in all forms except for vegetables, which don't have a sugar impact, but even fruits. I mean, we're only eating 1 fruit per day on the nutritional program during the 9 to 13 week portion of it. When you come out of that, then we're eating more fruits. We're eating more carbohydrates, but healthier carbohydrates, you know, like such as quinoa and couscous and amaranth and bulgur and millet and all these other things, not just trying to, you know, put everything into wheat, you know, and trying to vary ourselves a little bit. We're also eating a few more starchy vegetables, you know, that we might not have been eating so much before. So really the whole maintenance program just puts you in a space of where you're eating a little bit more freely because that gut microbiome is balanced out. The thing is when your gut microbiome is out of balance, that bad bacteria is going to feed on any sugar, even if it's a sugar from a banana.
Right.
So we've got to starve it. So that's what that whole portion of that part of that program is to starve it, get it out of sync, and that way then that good bacteria can rise up and then it can use the healthy sugars. Because the unhealthy
sugar.
sugar,
A garage sale to clean out my cabinets.
yeah, garage sale or food drive or something.
Give it to your son.
Yeah, there you go.
He won't take it either because he and his wife are eating really
Are they eating clean?
pretty clean.
Good for them. Good for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talk about that when we work on cleaning out the pantries. That's one of the modules we talk about is reading labels and cleaning out our pantries and making
Yes,
sure that
and
we're
so-
surrounding ourselves in a positive food environment.
When I was doing the exercising after my surgery, they had a meeting with you, and
Yeah.
some of it was choosing and how to shop and how to read labels and all this kind of stuff. And I just kind of wasn't a really good
Yeah.
patient. And when you grow up on a farm, you know, you mashed potatoes and gravy
Yeah.
and fried everything.
But all of that was made from better ingredients too. So that's another thing we talk about. Because we talk about, so you can live on a farm then and live on a farm now, but still it's completely different.
If you want to eat
Yeah.
out in this town, I don't like fried stuff anymore.
Yeah.
And yet there's not a whole lot
Yeah.
of places to eat that it isn't fried.
Chinese. Chinese. That's where I go if I need a big plate of veggies.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Chinese and, friend, the people that own, anyway, they just opened a steakhouse.
Oh, land run, yes.
Land run,
Yeah.
yeah. And, I thought, gee, I could go in there and have a little steak.
There you go, yeah.
But you could eat a small steak.
Yes, most definitely, most definitely.
But
We're just
not-
gonna wanna make sure you digest it.
Throw out the baked potato and all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Get a salad and a small
Exactly.
small steak.
Exactly, but we'll coach you through all of that. That's what the whole program
Yeah.
is about, is coaching you through and making sure you know exactly how to make those
Because-
choices for
and
yourself.
I can't eat big amounts.
Yeah,
I wanna eat different, several times a day rather than one meal.
and this program is for you, because we're eating every 2 to 3 hours on this program.
Because,
Small
I go-
portion meals.
When you go to these places, you get these humongous servings. And I said, can I just get a small thing? I can't eat all that stuff. My tummy is shrunk and
Yeah.
quite a bit to where I cannot eat a full order of spaghetti.
Gotcha.
Or anything. Of course, I don't like tomato sauce now because that caused
Yeah.
acid reflux.
Yeah, well, yeah, but there's something else going on there, but we'll talk about that later. So let me wrap this up real quick for you guys. So we're starting the program. We're gonna have 2 class options during a week. We're gonna have a Monday or a Tuesday. You don't come to both, just one or the other. I've got, Monday night is filling up pretty good right now. I don't have a whole lot of people for Tuesday nights, but hopefully we'll get some more people on board for
I
Tuesday
like
night.
Tuesday night.
Wonderful, then that'll work out wonderful. And so the program itself, like I said, is going to be a 9-week program, and that goes through March 4th and 5th, 4th being a Monday, 5th being a Tuesday.
Okay, now, do I need to come back in here and write you a check for the everything, or?
Well, if you want to go ahead and do the program, we can do that anytime between now, if you want it for the 135, we just need to do it by the 4th, which is a week from today. And I have enrollments forms for you to fill out and everything, and that way we can get everybody on page, and I know how many manuals to order and making sure I've got the
Yeah,
materials
well,
for everybody.
I think I really want to do this because I've gone through a whole lot of different ones.
Yeah,
And this one seems to be really, the way to really educate you to
Yeah.
the best of your, okay, you want me to?
so that's your enrollment form. If, so when you,
Oh, I could go ahead and fill it out
Yeah.
before I go.
yeah, exactly, you can have that and have it all filled out and everything, so that way we know what we're doing.
There, what time are the meetings?
Oh, that's a really good question, isn't it? So, we're gonna start doing the bio-tracker assessments at 5:30, from 5:30 until 6. And then we'll start class right about 6 o'clock or so, and maybe 6:15, depending on how many people we have. But with it being a Tuesday night, it doesn't look like we're gonna have a huge class on that. So most likely we'll start class right at 6.
Okay.
But
Because we
yes.
don't have football games and we won't be done with
Yeah.
football games. Gee.
Yeah. And then, of course, then when you're ready to order product, I'll help you get set up to order product, making sure you get it for the best price that's optional at that time, and get that all taken care of. And we'll go from there. Kelly, can you